Hi, Momo Sensei. So,
Hi.
first question is, did you face pressure when trying to pursue a culinary art degree in Japan? And what motivated you to make the decision to go to New York
Mhm,
to study advertising and marketing after a culinary experience in Japan?
mhm, mhm. Not a lot of pressure, to be honest. I
Mhm.
had my aunt living in New York back then.
Oh, okay.
She retired already, and she lives in Bangkok now.
Mm,
But
wow.
then, yes, and I used to visit her once in a while when I was in high school. Just I got along with her very well, and she let me stay with her.
Mhm.
So, I always wanted to study. When I was in high school, I visited her a few times, and New York was very exciting for me.
Yeah,
And I wanted to go to college in New York, and I convinced my parents to do that.
yeah.
But right after high school, my English was not good enough, so I decided to spend another year and a half, about 17 months, I guess, at the language school
Mm.
to improve my English. But during that time, my aunt also suggested me to learn. I always loved cooking. That was one of my passion. And even since I was little, I always, one of the dream was to have my own restaurants or
Mm.
uh, pastry. I loved baking.
Mm.
I, always baked cakes for entire my family's birthday, in my grandma, grandpa. So I always liked cooking, but then I wasn't really sure if I wanted to do that for living. But since I was going to spend another uh, year and a half to improve my English before I moved to New York, I decided to go to culinary art school.
Mhm.
So I was doing two things. I went to the English language school and then culinary art school during the day and night. So
Wow.
quite busy.
Yeah.
But then my aunt said it's good idea to get those because that time my aunt was running a PR firm. She had her own business, and she hosted quite a lot of events uh, at her house, or she rented space. So she said, "Oh, maybe you can help me do catering and stuff like that because she hosts a lot of events for her business." So I thought maybe it's a good idea to brush up my skill and then learn properly, so I
Mhm.
can tell people that I have. In Japan, in order for you to start a restaurant,
Mhm.
you need a degree from, or a
Yeah.
certificate from the government.
Right, right. Yeah.
It's a chef's certificate. And many large restaurant companies, they hire outside a chef, people with chef certificate. And as long as you have one person in the company, you can open a business.
Mm.
So I thought, oh, maybe it's a good idea to make it more official. So I can tell people that I'm a certified chef, not just I'm good at cooking.
Mm. Yeah, yeah.
So I decided, yeah, so I always knew I wanted to study in New York, but I decided to take this course. It's about 2 year degree.
Mhm.
So I decided to study culinary art degree before I moved to New York. But I wasn't quite sure back then. I was 19, right?
Yeah,
18,
right.
19.
Yes. Yes, yeah.
So I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do for living, but then I ended up doing it. So no pressure. My parents were very supportive.
Mhm.
And my parents were surprised when I decided to open a restaurant by myself,
Mm.
but later in life. But no pressure. It was. I always thought that will be my hobby, sort of like something that I like to do on the side, but no pressure. And main reason why I decided to move to New York was to study there. But then I chose New York because my aunt was there, and she was running her own PR or management company,
Public
public
relation?
relation office. Yes.
Mhm.
So I thought I would learn something related to her business.
Ah, okay, okay.
Yes, yes.
So that's why you chose advertising and marketing.
Yes, because I was really genuinely interested because my aunt will, her main job was to, when, for example, one of her biggest client back then was the department called Isetan or Takashimaya. So those big department store always send people to shoot advertisement or TV commercials in New York. It was one of the popular destinations. So my aunt will arrange those. So she will hire Santa Claus, or she will hire models, and then she will hire a photographer to shoot those posters or TV commercials. That was her business, and she was quite successful. So I thought, oh, maybe I really want to learn something related to that. Yeah.
But it was like a fashion university, right?
Mainly. My aunt was she was doing mainly clothing and underwears, so for TV commercials. And the reason why I chose that university was one of my aunt's employees, like long-time employees, graduated from FIT. And FIT is a state university, so tuition was a lot cheaper than other universities. So I chose FIT because of the interest in her area, my aunt's area, and also, one of her employees recommended, and quite easy access for me because my aunt back then was living in west side of Manhattan, Upper West Side, and I was staying there once in a while. Not always. I stayed in a dormitory. But then I spent a lot of time with her. So I chose the school because of her influence, I think.
That's great, yeah. Because you get the chance to, explore all of the different arts in the school, like get creative, like.
Yes, it was fun. It was fun time for me. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Second question is, you work with the restaurant management group company after graduation from FIT, and but when did you start to have an interest in sake, and why?
So originally, I did my internship at the fashion brand called Calvin Klein. The famous brand called. You've heard of it, right? Calvin Klein.
What is that?
It's Calvin Klein is the name of
the
designer.
Right. Calvin.
Sorry,
of course. Yes, go.
Yes, but he's a graduate. He's a graduate of FIT as well.
Oh, okay.
So he always hire a lot of people at my university. So I took an internship there, and then I was thinking about taking a job at Calvin Klein after I graduated from the school. But at that time, I really wanted to stay in New York for a long time. So my aunt suggested, very often fashion industry don't support your green card. Like, if you want to stay there long, you should be doing something related to Japanese. Like something must be done by Japanese person. Then green card process will go very fast.
Oh, okay.
So I was interested in both fashion and also cooking, right? Obviously. So I decided to take a job at a restaurant management company. My aunt said, okay, if you want to stay in the U.S. longer, you should do that first. And then you can always switch back to fashion later, but you need the visa and you need a green card. So I said, okay, that's a very smart idea. So I wanted to work for a restaurant management company, and they sponsor visa and green card more than fashion industry because they have to have some Japanese employees who speak Japanese and know how to cook Japanese cuisine. And the company is quite big. I worked for the same boss for quite a few years until I left New York. But back then he had about 15 Japanese restaurants, and he had 2 sake bars back then. And my boss suggested, in order for me to support your green card, you need to have more skills.
Right.
And if you're willing to, because he had 2 sake bars already, and I knew a lot about sake because I studied by myself. That was very interesting to me. So I got few, sort of entry-level certificate in New York. I could, there are some school offering degrees, but I wanted to get more official certificate from Japan. And my boss, the restaurant management company boss, he was very generous. He offered to pay whole certificate course if I study and work at the company for certain, if I renew the contract. He said, I will pay for the school, and also I had to go to Japan, so I will pay for the trip as well. So why don't you do it? So maybe you can get green card a little bit faster. So I decided, I was always interested, so I decided to do it, and it took me maybe about 2 years. I had to go to Japan quite a few times, but then my boss helped me to get the certificate. So I decided to do it because his one of his sake bar, it's called Sakagura. It's still there.
Oh, okay.
In Midtown, New York, Midtown East, actually, near United Nations.
Okay.
It's still there. But that was sort of at the beginning of Sakagura. And he said, I want the bar to be more specialized sake bar, and we don't have any specialists. So if you can be a specialist, then that will be great. And also, I was about to apply for my green card, so I thought that would be very helpful degree for both my career and also fasten the green card process. So, and of course, I was genuinely interested in sake, and there were not many sake sommelier in New York back then, so I thought it would be a good idea.
Cool. Yeah. All right. Next one is, instead of directly pursuing a master's degree after college, which a lot of my peers are doing right now, but what challenges did you have to face by entering the workforce, and any specific events that encourage you to be an entrepreneur?
So, I probably should have done my master's after college, but back then schools in U.S. is so expensive, as you know, and obviously I couldn't afford to pay for my master's degree, so I decided to work right away. But I always had this, wish. Oh, I want to pursue my master's degree someday. I want to, pursue my master's degree someday. I always felt that way. So I always said, okay, I will work hard, save money, and then pursue my master's degree. But I decided to do it because, in 2000, I always wanted to start my own business someday. And then I saw my boss. I worked for him on and off. I actually knew my restaurant boss for many, many years. I actually babysat his daughter and son many, many years ago. When I was in college, my former boss is a friend of my aunt. Actually, my former boss from the restaurant, his wife is a good friend of my aunt. And then when they were traveling or when they need to attend a party, she asked me to babysit her kids. And then, they are both born and raised in America. So their Japanese is a little,
Right.
Yeah. So my boss' wife asked me, please only speak in Japanese because they need to brush up. And then the parents, sometimes they get really frustrated with them. So, and always tell them speak Japanese at home. But then obviously they always speak English with their friends. So they don't want to speak Japanese. But so she said, they will listen to you more than, to them.
Yeah.
So I babysat them for quite on and off, not regular job, but then sometimes I would babysit their kids. Sometimes I work for my aunt. So that was my college sort of side job. So I knew them for many, many years. And, I have very close relationship with my former boss and his wife still. I saw them like 2 months ago in Kyoto. But my boss said, he's very positive. He's very encouraging. He said, I only have, high school degree, but then I did it. So, you don't need,
Yeah.
he was like, you don't need master's degree to start.
Right,
But you know what you need? You need passion and also energy. That's what he said.
Yes.
So if you want to start restaurant business, I'm not talking about any other business, but if you want to start your restaurant business, you should do it now. Like, because you'll be running around so much and you need to be working for many, many hours. So the best thing is, you don't need master's degree to start restaurant. You need energy and passion. So I said, okay, maybe I will do master's degree later and I should start my business as young as possible. He said, sooner the better, and then, it's high risk business.
Yeah.
So if you fall, if you fail, and if you are still young, it's easier for you to, restart. So, don't wait. You should start now. And then, so I said, okay, maybe I'll do my business first and then see how it goes. And then maybe someday I'll do my MBA or master's degree. So I decided to start up a business before my master's because of my boss' encouragement. I have only high school degree, and then back then he had 15 restaurants. He owned like 7 buildings in East Village.
Oh.
He became very successful. He did it by himself though.
Wow.
He moved to the U.S. when he was like 17, 18, with his friends. No, he knew no one, but he really started from the scratch by himself with his best friend. So he motivated me to start, young. Yeah.
Cool. Was it the Bonyagi-san?
Yeah, Mr.
Oh.
Bonyagi,
Oh,
yes.
okay, cool.
You can Google his name. You will see a lot of things that about him. He is my sort of mentor. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Okay, fourth question would be, what would be 3 things that you think need to be most cautious or creative about throughout your entrepreneurial journey? Both the Hong Kong sake restaurant bar and the momo dressing or test kitchen.
So, yes, the most important thing is take care of yourself. Your health and mental health, because being an entrepreneur, it's a lot of pressure. Until you pay off your debt, you will not really sleep very well. You always have like a dream, nightmare, a lot. So you take care of your mental and physical health first. Number 2, take care of your people, your employees, because you cannot really do anything by yourself. You rely on your employees a lot. And if you take care of your employees well, they will take care of your business very well too. And that's what my boss did, always his employees first. Back then, when I was his assistant, he had like 200 employees, at least 200 employees. But he always took care of his people. Sometimes, their kids get sick and need extra money. He will give out loans, and, he is very, very caring. That's why a lot of people are very loyal to him. And I worked for him for many years, and many of his employees, my colleagues, work for him for many, many years. Some of them work for him for like 30 years. If you don't really have good group of people, you cannot really do anything. So one is you have to take care of yourself first, because if you're not mentally healthy, you cannot treat your employees well.
Yeah.
Because you're always stressed out, and employees will see it.
Right.
They will see you.
Yeah.
If you are very stressed or you're sick, employees will be worried. They cannot really focus on their job. So you have to take care of yourself first. But then number 2, always employees. Take care of your employees. And find the good people, or people who share the same value. And if you take care of your people well, they will stay with you. So and we are dealing with human, right? We are not dealing with computer or robot. So they have good days, they have bad days, and be realistic about their capability. They are not machines, so they cannot work 10 hours straight without any break. Someday they feel stressed. You have to listen to them. You have to adjust their work schedule, and they have life outside of work, right? They have family, they have, friends, they have kids. So, be sympathetic, be flexible with them. Try not to pressure too much. Try not to pressure them too much. So those things are not second point. And then number 3, I think you have to stick to your concept. You need to be flexible because, value change. You have many different opinions. Many people have different opinion. But if you believe in a certain concept, you have to stick to it. So, it's important to be flexible, but also you need to believe in your business concept and your belief, and you have to stick to it. So, when I started my sake bar, many people said, "Oh, Hong Kong people don't drink sake, so why don't you do sake cocktails? Why don't you sell wines?" Many people said that, but then I decided, okay, what I am good at is sake. I don't know anything about cocktails. I'm not a bartender. I don't know anything about wine, and I decided to do sake bar, so I will stick to the concept. And I try to pursue it. So sticking to the concept is scary, especially first maybe 24 months. Many people will give you advice. They mean well, but at the same time, sometimes, okay, maybe I should change the concept. Maybe I should sell sushi. Maybe, a lot of things get into your head. But then, no, I believe in my concept, so I will stick to it. So after 12 months, things got quite well, but then at the beginning it's scary, but sticking to your concept or believing in your concept, and of course here and there you have to tweak the business, right? Like many trend change, value change, so I have to tweak here and there, but I always stuck with what I believe in. And the same for Momo dressing. We use organic ingredient, and we sell premium, expensive product. So when economy goes down, we feel like, oh, maybe we should use some non-organic ingredient and make it cheaper. Like sometimes we have a doubt, right? We worry. Sometimes business is not always like this, go up and down. But then no, we have. My brother and I always talk. Okay, this is our concept: sustainability and local. So, we should stick to them. Sometimes apple price goes up. Oh, should we, use apple from other countries? No. Our concept is fresh and local, so we should stick to it. So, stick to your core belief is quite important. So, 3 things. Take care of yourself, take care of your employees, and then stick to your core belief.
Yeah. Really important, yes.
Yes.
And next question would be, what was the most difficult time you remembered that you had to, forget everything you've learned or you've had and start over again?
Yes. I actually don't have a lot of experience like that, to be honest, because my first business, my first business that I started by myself is sake bar. Momo dressing, my brother and I started, but it became sort of official a few years later because we didn't have money to invest. So sake bar was sort of my first baby. And then Momo dressing was older, but then became official slightly later. So sake bar was the first business, right? And then I didn't really feel like I failed big. My business, I continued for 10 years, and it was quite successful in terms of financial aspect. But I was thinking about this question last night. I don't know, but then I was talking to Baldwin Sensei. I met him like maybe 12 years ago. He saw me struggle everything, but then he reminded me, remember that time you were crying and you said, I want to quit, He reminded me that time.
Right.
And, usually I forget the bad thing and only remember.
That's good.
Everything.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. But, when I started sake bar again, I was about to start sake bar again. The first chef I hired, a lot of delays in construction and stuff, so I couldn't open my shop on time. And of course, I was paying him full. I hired someone a little bit too early, and I was paying everything in full. But then he got bored because he will come to the shop, but no customer, right? Because license is delayed and the light is delayed. So he spent some time to develop the recipe and. And then he suddenly said he wanted to quit even before I opened the shop. Yeah, because, I think he got a better offer from, he said he wanted to move to Macau for some, reasons, but I think he got bored. It's my fault.
Was it the second sake bar in Hong Kong you want to open, or?
No, the first time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, first time. So I got the property, construction started, and then I have to look for employees, right? So originally I was going to hire this guy. We have been talking for many months. And then, I need your help. Hong Kong guy, local guy. And then he's a nice guy. He was helping me to find the suppliers and create recipe. And he was working for other izakaya before. So he knows how to cook traditional Japanese like drinking food, not kaiseki, not so, But then he said, so many delays and I'm wasting your money and, I just miss cooking and, he suddenly said, I want to move to Macau, because like a big hotel was being built and I think he had was headhunted by someone for really good salary. So he quit. And I cannot say no because my shop is not ready. Yeah. And, I don't know exactly when it's going to open. So I said, okay. So basically we spent like 2-3 months creating recipe, menu. I already have menu printed, everything. But then, oh my God, if he's not there when I have a grand opening, I don't know how to cook those food, right? Because it's his recipe. So I said, I was like in panic mode, obviously, because I could open any time because I was just waiting for the license to come. So the license will suddenly come. So I don't know exactly when, right? And then after he quit, like 1 week later, my license got approved. So I was like, I cannot say the word, but right? So I said, okay, forget everything. I'm going to be a chef because I don't have enough time to hire someone and train someone with the recipe. Right. So I threw away all the menu that I printed nicely with all the photos and everything. I created a very simple, humble recipe and a menu, maybe only like 20 items on the menu. And then, I told the manager, I hired another Hong Kong local guy. I couldn't afford to sponsor other people's visa, so I had to rely on local people. So I had one employee, the manager, who's, I hired him a little bit later than the chef because the manager is slightly easier to train. I said, okay, I'm gonna, plan change, strategy change. Originally, I was gonna have the chef, the manager, myself, and then cleaning person, 4 people. Plan change. I'm sorry, but then I'm gonna be a chef. Okay, because I don't have enough time to train people and create new menu. So I'm gonna create the menu that I know, how to cook. So you have to be running outside, and I will hire part-time, but you plan change. And then manager was kind enough, said, okay, I understand, we don't have enough time. And so let's do it. So I felt like, I spent a few months creating the recipe menu, we hired photographer to do photo shoot of the menu. Everything is kind of wasted, but it's my fault. I hired chef too early, or maybe I applied the license too late. I don't know which one is. But so I felt like, oh gosh, I never thought I would be cooking in a kitchen for like 12 hours a day. And then, I did that when I was young. In my 20s, I did that. But then okay, I will start this again. So then after 3 months, my business started to pick up, and then I heard my customers' voice and opinion. I tweaked the menu here and there, and then I hired a kitchen assistant. And then, so I cooked in the kitchen for about 6 months. The assistant was actually a former student of Baldwin Sensei. He introduced me. Oh, I have a good guy. I know a good guy, very reliable, so why don't you hire him? And then he came to work for me. He didn't have a lot of cooking experience, but he is very nice. He speaks good English, so I could communicate with him. So I cooked with him for about 3 months, and then he became quite comfortable with handling the kitchen. So, I let him cook mainly, and then I hired another assistant. But in that 6 months of sake bar being open, I was really frustrated. What did I do? Why did I lose the most important person in the company? And so that was probably the most frustrating time. I felt like, okay, everything I had this concept, but then I need to change a little bit. I have to start over. But that's pretty much it. After that, it was sort of not completely smooth, but then smooth sailing. But that 6 months was very, very scary.
So like if you're working 12 hours a day in that 6 month, how are you able to, adjust the menu based on customers' reactions? Like, do you go from the back of the kitchen to the front to deal with the customers again, or do you?
So my restaurant has an open kitchen. So it's easy, and then we have a bar counter in front of the kitchen. So I'll cook, prepare, and then some Hong Kong customers said, "Oh, this is too salty. This is, maybe too sweet for Hong Kong people." Like a little bit here and there. So, but of course, I cannot change the recipe too frequently. I have to check I have to hear many people's opinion, and of course, I need to be authentic as possible to Japanese recipe. So I sometimes and then certain things are too fishy, or so I will change the menu a little bit. But so basically, I was working in the kitchen 12 hours a day, Monday through Saturday. So Sunday, the restaurant is closed, so I will sleep until like afternoon. So tired, right? But then I will come to my shop, and then I will write down I will go over all the comment my customer gave me, and then sometimes I just completely drop the menu because Hong Kong people didn't like it. But then sometimes I will add something, I will remove something, and then adjust the menu, usually on Sunday.
So you had the sticky notes or something that customer can write on and...
Okay. I had a comment, sort of like a comment card. At the beginning, I asked customers to, now I think people will do that with app and stuff. But then back then, I had a little bit of card in the checkbook. When a customer paid the bill, I will ask customer to give us some feedback. Of course, most customers didn't write anything, but some customers wrote something. Oh, this was... for Hong Kong people, this is too undercooked. Like, the Japanese people eat a lot of things a little bit undercooked, right? Like we believe in ingredients. So I will say, oh, but then this is Japanese fish, so it's okay. But then, of course, some Hong Kong customers felt uncomfortable eating those. So I had to adjust a little bit. Depends on the customer. Okay, this table is mainly Hong Kong customers, so I will cook a little bit more. Or this is only Japanese people, so I'll cook a little bit less or something like that. So I try to be a little bit more flexible at the beginning.
Cool, Well, I guess I kind of jumped over to the next question.
Yes, sure.
Is the have you ever had struggles when customer reactions didn't match the effort you put in to do something, or they just simply didn't understand your talents? How did you manage to solve that at the end? I kind of like jumped over to that
No,
one.
no, no, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. Everything is sort of related, right? But many, many, many times. Like for example, I will have like the most fresh namazake. I don't know if you remember, namazake is unpasteurized sake, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Fresh sake. It's so difficult to bring namazake. Back then, there are not many namazake available in Hong Kong. So I had to pay so much money to my supplier and bring namazake in a refrigerated container, chilled, and then bring to Hong Kong so I can introduce Hong Kong people namazake. Right?
Yeah.
So I paid so much effort to bring a very, very fresh namazake to Hong Kong. And then some customer asked me to make it hot.
Damn, okay.
Oh, I like this sake. They order a bottle of sake. No, I like it, but then can you make it hot? And then I was like, oh my God, oh no. Of course, I was frustrated, but back then there was no other sake bar around, so not many people knew how to drink sake or how to store sake or seasons of sake was like no one heard of it, right?
Yeah.
Like the seasonality of sake. So I will bring namazake shiboritate, which is available in January. So I will bring in, and in January in Hong Kong it's a little bit cool, or not cold, but a little bit, cooler than
Chewy, yeah.
summertime. So can you make it? It's cold outside. So can you make it hot? And I was, oh no, please don't do it. But then obviously I cannot lose my temper. So I said, sure, we can do it warm. But then slowly, once customer become regular customer, I'm not going to tell my first time customer, no, that's stupid. No, I'm not going to say that because it's rude. And I don't want to offend people because they don't know any better, right? And I cannot blame people for that. So I said, after a few times, by the way, this is a winter sake called shiboritate, which is unpasteurized sake. So, we normally drink it cold, chilled, because it has a very fresh, nice, So slowly I kind of educated my customers.
Yeah.
But it takes time. It took time. And I hosted quite a few sake tasting events or sake classes at my bar. So they will have opportunities to learn about sake. But at the beginning, so many things like that. Sometimes they buy really good vintage sake, and then but they don't know what vintage sake is, so they will pair with sashimi or something, and no, that's not the right time to drink vintage sake. So I will slowly educate them. But if I say that from the beginning, they will be offended. So I have to get to know them, and then after a few visits, I will say, but by the way, vintage sake goes very well with chocolate or maybe dessert, and slowly I have them open up their heart and mind, and then educate them or just tell them what I think. Yeah, it's struggle. It's a lot of my sushi chef friends said, in Hong Kong, many people spend so much money on sushi, but they dump everything in soy sauce. You are not supposed to. They want everything with the sweet eel sauce. A lot of restaurant people have our own struggles, but we slowly, just all about information and education, right? So, but I'm very, I appreciate them even trying sake, obviously. So I'm not offended, but of course it's frustrating.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Was it the same as the momo dressing in the test kitchen in Brooklyn?
Sometimes, when this kitchen is not so much because it's sort of new business, and people who already know about momo dressing come to Momo Test Kitchen, so they know our products. But then when we started momo dressing, some people didn't like the fact because we don't use any additives.
Right.
We don't use any chemicals. So shelf life is very short.
Yeah.
So, and then in order for us to keep it, product healthy, our product tend to have a little bit more vinegar compared to others. It needs to be a little bit more acidic in order to keep the shelf life. So some people didn't like it, and then some people said it's not sweet enough, or some people said it's not very smooth. But then a lot of dressings which have very smooth textures, they have additives at it, right? They put some chemicals so they will become very smooth.
Right.
So at the beginning, yes, we had some feedback. Oh, it's no. And then, of course, when, for example, dressing is standing in a fridge like vertically, they separate, right? Obviously, like oil and they said, why? But then, a lot of people who never seen organic product, they are so used to having like a sauce or ranch not separating at all.
Yeah.
But then that's not natural.
Right.
They put a lot of chemicals to make it look like that, right?
Yeah.
So we had to tell customer, because we don't add any additives, but then it's healthy. Please just mix very well before you use, and we got it's same. But then slowly they started to understand. Because they don't use any additives, and it's more focus on more fresh ingredient, and they have shorter shelf life, and then their look or color change faster than others. That's natural. If things don't change forever, that's not healthy.
Right.
So back then, not many people have experience of using organic or non-additive products or dressings. So we had a lot of comments. But then slowly, people started to understand. Yeah,
it takes time to educate the customers, I guess.
Yes. Yes.
And effort to a lot of.
Yes.
Okay, so next one would be, have you ever had to reshape or redirect your business development strategies in order to expand, and what is the learning process of it?
Yes. So, number 7, I think Momo dressing is one of the best examples. Momo Test Kitchen. So, as we grew, like Momo dressing became quite, growing very fast. Momo dressing is quite seasonal. Dressing is quite seasonal. We sell so much during summer, and then we sell less during wintertime. But then we need certain number of employees, right? So we cannot fire people during winter because we have less orders, right? So what we decided to do was to sort of balance out the business. So we started Momo Test Kitchen. So employees can go back and forth. So when dressing factory is very busy, we send a lot of employees to the dressing. And then Momo Test Kitchen, we do a lot of catering events. So we have restaurants and the bento box business mainly. We deliver bento box to doctors in hospital. We sell a lot of bento boxes to people who work around that area. But we do a lot of catering events too. So we cater for parties. And then in US, those businesses so much busier during wintertime than summertime. So Thanksgiving, Christmas. So we decided to have another business structure so we can keep all the employees, and we can have we can offset the slow time. So Momo dressing, right now, Momo, it's already in November, so Momo dressing is probably 30% less compared to maybe June, July. But Momo Test Kitchen is busier. We actually make we have a dessert section too. So we make cookies, dessert. We sell a lot of cakes to restaurants and cafes as well, like a whole cake. So those businesses busier during winter time. So we decided, we want everyone to work for us full time. But then before, we couldn't keep all the employees full time, right? Because summer is busier, winter is slower. So we decided, we need another form of business to keep all the employees full time.
Yeah.
So we won't lose very good employees.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the things. As business grows, we see big difference between summer and winter. When we are slower, not much difference. Fluctuation was smaller. But then now business is getting bigger and bigger. So summer and winter, our drop is huge. So we had to change the strategy a little bit. And we wanted to have our own retail store as well. So our test kitchen sells all our product directly to customers, like dressings and dips. Yeah. And we now make a lot of dessert as well. So we sell those to our product directly to our customers. Yeah.
The test kitchen also sell like restaurant foods, right? It's like a restaurant, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you can sit down and eat there too. But it's small restaurant, so I would say 90% of customers take away their food and then bring back to. Most of our customers come from the area.
Okay.
Like a factory area, and the building is called Brooklyn Army Terminal. It's huge property run by New York City, but they have tech company inside. They have some chocolate factories. They have designers. Depends on the building. They have many buildings. They host different businesses. Like there's one bicycle, like a custom-made bicycle shop, like many business, but not many restaurants inside of the huge property. So people come for lunch, pick up lunch almost. Some customers come almost every day. They have their own box. They have 2 empty boxes, so they pick up lunch today, and then they drop off the empty box for tomorrow. So our chef will put all the bento inside, and next day he will come pick up. And so many regular customers there. Yeah, they can eat at the restaurant as well.
Cool. Yeah. Wow. All right. So next one is how did you manage to multitask efficiently? Like you said, you're being an entrepreneur and teaching, or like right now it's like both working and having classes. Back then you were like you just do like multitasking all the time. I feel like, and then what important skills?
I didn't want to multitask though. If I could survive doing one thing, I probably did just one thing. Yeah. But at the beginning of sake bar again, sales was not very good. And I had to hire many people, right? I mean, because the area my shop was is called Lankai Farm, and it's like a little bit similar to Roppongi of Tokyo, or maybe more like East Village of New York.
Okay.
So weekend is very busy, but weekday not so busy, right? But then I need people. I need to secure people. So I had to hire at least like a full-time employees, and but the weekday business was not very good. So I decided to take outside job to support the sales. So I started to teach Monday night. So Monday my bar is so slow; it's quite empty, but I still need to pay my employees, right? So it's easier to myself to go out and then get extra income for the company. Yes. So I can supplement the sales. And I did consulting job to supplement my sales too. So if my sake bar was very successful from day one, I would have not done it. Okay. But because I struggled, I decided to multitask. Or not decided, I had to multitask. And also I realized if I was doing like a teaching job or consulting job outside of my sake bar, it was very good promotions. Like I meet new people, right? So I can tell, oh, please come to my sake. If you like sake, please come to my sake bar. So my former sake students became good customers to my bar. So it was, at the beginning, I obviously didn't want to do it, but I had to do it to pay my rent, to pay my employees. I didn't have money. So I said yes to any job possible. Right? And consulting job I could do any time. I was just doing consulting job after work, or sometimes when my shop is not very busy, I will sit on the corner of my shop and writing a report stuff like that. So I can earn some extra income. So obviously, I don't think it was my wish to multitask, but I had to learn how to multitask to survive. But then, how did I develop, important skill? I think you really need to switch your head, okay, this time to this time, I will focus on this. This time to this time, I will focus on this. Of course, I worry, when I was teaching at my school, I will worry about my shop or my employees doing a good job. But then, of course, I have to trust my employees and then switch my head. So you just give yourself some time schedule. Okay, I'll do this from 9 to 5, I'll do this. After that, I'll do this. So you need to have very organized schedule. So in order to multitask, you have to have a very clear routine. So you have to stick to your routine. I wake up this time, I do this job this time, I go to my shop this time, I go to bed this time. You have to stick to your routine. Otherwise, you worry too much and you get nothing done. Yeah.
Just focus at the present, and then
yes. Yeah. Of course, I worry about my shop all the time, but then if I do that, then I cannot multitask. So just focus on one thing at a time, and then let your employees handle other things. Yeah.
Okay. So next one would be you've recently leaned more towards consulting and teaching direction. So what made you want to work for example, like Jetro or KGU again, after becoming such a successful international entrepreneur? I mean, except for the reason that you want to supplement yourselves or like earn more.
No, many reasons actually. One is, of course, my personal reasons. I wanted to have more time for all my family live in Japan. And my parents are getting older. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to spend more time with my family and have a little bit more balanced life. And when I started my sake bar again, I told my partner, I own 70% of my company, about 75% of my company, but my investors were sake brewery people, like owner of sake brewery invested in me. And I told them I put my 100% of energy to this project for 10 years. But after that, I will sell. Because running a restaurant is really, really time consuming and it requires a lot of energy. So I decided to focus on that, but then I gave myself a time limit. And I actually tend to give myself a plan. For example, when I started working for my former boss, I said, okay, after 10 years, I want to start my own. Like, I usually have a time scheduled. Otherwise, if you are comfortable with your job or if you're happy with your job, you don't really change or you don't really improve. So I always feel like life needs a plan. And every project needs to have a time limit.
Right.
So if you cannot make things happen by then, you should switch the gear or something, right? So every time I launch new project with my brother, Momo Dressing, okay, let's try this for 2 years. And if it doesn't make any money, let's stop. Like before you start something, you should have a time limit. Because otherwise you will keep losing money or you don't know when to stop, right? So my brother and I had a dog food business before.
Dog food business?
Yeah. Yes. That was terrible. Please don't write about this. I mean, you can. It's okay.
No.
But we are so embarrassed. It was terrible. We failed miserably. But when we started, we said, okay, let's give it a try for 18 months. And if we don't make any money, we stop because we are wasting our energy and resources. So every time we start new small project, we usually give ourselves a time limit because when you start, sometimes you put too much of your effort, time, and emotion into it, and then you don't know when to stop. You lose your cool, right? You are no longer very sort of objective. You put too much into it, so you don't know when to stop. So very often we tell, now the company is big, so we tell our accountant in advance, okay, we are launching a new small division, but then please tell us if we are not making any money in the month 18, we will stop. And we have to tell people, otherwise we go, oh, let's give one more month, and then keep losing money, right? Yeah. So we need someone very objective and then calm to tell us, okay, you got to stop because you are losing money. But we don't want to stop because we put so much time and effort, and it feels like a little child, right, for us, the business. But then sometimes you need someone very calm to tell you to stop. So I always do that, though. So I decided, okay, it's after I do Sakeba for 10 years, I want to do a little bit different things in my life. So my next goal was to do a little bit more educational side and consulting. One, of course, that life and work balance is slightly better than running a restaurant. And also I wanted to spend more time with my family. And also, at this point of my life, I worked so hard and I made I'm financially quite comfortable. Unless something really big happens, I will be comfortable for many, many more years, luckily. I'm very lucky in that way. So I wanted to do something a little bit more meaningful and something a little bit more giving back to the society. And I'm very happy teaching young people, especially, I have a lot of Japanese female students in my another entrepreneurship class. And, in Japan, unfortunately, men and women have very unequal society. Yeah. And women don't get paid very well, less opportunities. Yeah. When I started my own business, I had one mentor who helped me. She's a lawyer. She's actually a Hong Kong lady. But I met her in New York. She helped me, and then she told me, at the beginning, I actually borrowed a lot. She loaned me some money to start my own business. And she told me, when you make it, or when you feel like you make it, please help invest in 3 women. Because she invested in me. She helped me a lot without any condition except one. Someday, when you become successful, you please invest in 3 women. Because she felt like she had very little opportunity. She's a lawyer. Now she's a patent lawyer for Tesla. She's very, very successful, actually. Yeah, but she had her own business too. She was a bartender. She didn't have a college degree. She grew up in Chinatown, New York. She didn't have actually a paper when she was growing up. So she had to support herself, became a legal immigrant, and then put herself into law school. And, she's very, very inspiring. And she was a bartender many years. Like she said, she slept on the floor in East Village, and she's really inspiring. So when she helped me, she said, okay, someday when you make it, please invest in 3 women. And I did that. I invested in yoga studio. I have 3 female business partners that doing their thing. And so I really find it's very rewarding to guide young people to become, especially, no offense to men, but then I want to help young women to, be confident and be their own. So I wanted to. So it's quite rewarding, though. Teaching at Kansai Gaidai, obviously, pays nothing. Right. I have to tell you, there is nothing. But most professors or teachers don't really teach for living. I think they have their own side business, and then they do it because it's actually, I learned so much from my students, but also it's really rewarding to be able to guide some young people and, give them some advice and, see their growth as people. So, next 10 years, I started last year, so next 10 years I want to focus on that part of my life. And of course, I want to advance my education too. I just finished my master's, and I would love to do my PhD as well. Now I have more time and money now.
Okay.
When you are young, you don't have it. So, and to be honest, the first time when I did my MBA, first time I really enjoyed learning. Like when I was your age, it was about survival.
Right.
You know, my English was my second language.
Yeah.
English was my second language, and then I had to finish my bachelor's in 4 years. Otherwise, I ran out of my saving, and my parents will no longer support me. So for me, my bachelor's degree was, okay, survival, graduate on time, and don't drop the course. That was that. So to be honest, I don't know if I really enjoyed learning because I had to survive. I had to get things done. But in my master's degree, I could take my time, it doesn't matter if I fail, no one will tell me what to do. I was old enough, I was paying my own tuition. So master's degree was so much fun because I really, first time, I felt like I was learning for myself, not because I will lose my job if I don't get things done, or I will lose my visa if I don't pass it. So it was fun, and I would love to I would love to continue my study, especially in the field of sake. I would love to do probably a PhD related to either agriculture, rice, something related to that. And I'm consulting rice farmers and sake breweries through JETRO now. So I would love to continue my study in that area, I think.
Cool.
Yeah.
I think you also answered a little bit about the last question I'm gonna ask you. What encouraged you to pursue an MBA degree in 2023, and what's your future business plan? I mean, for someone who has the motivation to even do like after MBA to even do a PhD, like anyone who wants to do a PhD is like, I really need to admire those people.
But that's how I feel as of now. Okay. I might change my mind later. But I would love to. Dr. Baldwin, he has so many. He has law degrees too. He has so many degrees. He has, I don't know how many masters he has. He has PhD as well. And learning is about your own, for yourself, right? And MBA, I started. Do you remember there was a protest in Hong Kong?
Yeah.
Did you see any news? Okay. So I decided to start my MBA then.
Oh.
Because, protest was so difficult. It was so frustrating.
Yeah.
And the most challenging part of my MBA, during that time, protest time, was the divide in employees. Employee constantly fight, blue, yellow, I don't know how much, but, some of my employees are pro-China, some of my employees are pro-democracy. So I lost few employees because of that. And then, customers argue each other at the shop, at the bar.
Yeah.
It was so frustrating.
Yeah.
And as a Japanese person living in Hong Kong, I feel like I shouldn't say too much because I'm a guest living in Hong Kong. So, it was quite frustrating. And also, a lot of events got canceled. Many, I was hosting a lot of classes and events, but then the school I was teaching, sake school I was teaching was burned down.
Wow.
So they canceled all the classes. So basically, I had a lot of free time. I knew it wasn't going to stop anytime soon. So I decided, okay, let me just take one class. Let me enroll and I knew I was going to stop sakebagging in 2021 because I said 10 years. So I knew like next few years I was going to. So original plan was I will start my MBA after I finish my sakebagging, but I decided to start a little bit early because of the protest. So I said, let me apply, and then I have more time now. So maybe take one class because MBA usually gives they give maximum of 5 years to complete the degree. So it's not rush. If I don't finish, then I can focus in 2021 after I finished Sakeba again. So I decided to take one class, and then COVID started right after that. So I completed most of my class by 2021. 2 years I finished most, but then I decided to move to Japan. So I paused almost like a full year. After I moved to Japan, I had to set up the life, and then I completed my dissertation early this year. So MBA was always part of my plan. I wanted to do it for myself. And, to be honest, MBA was so much fun, obviously, but the best business school you will ever go is your own business. You learn so much more from running your own business than business school, obviously. But MBA was so much fun because you have hands-on experience from your business. But MBA gives you a little bit more theoretical point of view, and they will teach you possibilities, right? I saw the reality of business, but then MBA gives more broader view and teach you possibilities. So now I see Momo dressing slightly differently than before MBA. So it's definitely helping me. But just the whole process of learning was so much fun because I could take my own time. No one will tell me to finish on time. No one. So I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
And that's your future business plan to just keep growing your business, Momo dressing, maybe? Right now you said you want to focus on the next 10 years. You want to focus on teaching and consulting, but you also say you have new thoughts about Momo dressing as well.
Yeah, but the Momo dressing is I let my brother and I talk about this a lot. We started this business together, and his wife joined the company. She's a big part of our business, but I always say there's only one captain in the ship.
Yeah.
So my brother is the captain of a Momo dressing, and he's my baby brother. Yeah. So he always asks my opinion, and he asks my opinion a lot, and we fight a lot, obviously. But I always tell him, you're the captain of the ship, and he's there every day. He's the one running the business every day. So the final decision is always on him. So I will give my opinion to him, but just opinion. So follow your belief, follow your instinct, follow your guts. So he doesn't need my approval to make those decisions. He will always report to me. We usually talk at least once a week, and this happened. We need to do this. We need to expand, or we probably should close this division. But final decision is always on him. So my future plan is, of course, to help my brother. I do a lot of sourcing of the products. We purchase a lot of packing products, like the stickers or the boxes, those things from Asia, and ship to New York. Or we send some ingredient, not a lot, but then some ingredient go from Japan to New York. So I do logistic of that. So of course my goal is to help Momo dressing grow, but that's his baby. So my goal is, I'm not sure. I just started Kansai Gaidai and education sector. I love to advance my education, and the good thing is, luckily, I don't really have to work for living anymore. So I would like to, of course, give back to society. I live in a very capitalistic. Hong Kong is, very, very capitalistic, extreme capitalistic society. So, I want to do a little bit better for other people for once in a lifetime. Help people. I'll spend more time to volunteer, mentor people, guide people. And of course, I invested in few other businesses, female business owners. So I want to guide them if they need my help. So at this moment, I'm not quite sure what my future business plan is. Maybe I don't have a business plan. I have a life plan.
Yes, yes, that's even better.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
I probably have more life plan than business plan. Business part, I feel like I proved to myself already. So of course I will guide my brother, help him grow. But I want to do slightly more meaningful things in life. Giving back, teaching people, spend more time with my parents and then my nephews and volunteer. Yeah, but let's see. Maybe I get bored and I start my new business someday. I'm not sure.
Someday, yeah. Always, always
possible.
exploring.
Yes. Maybe I buy sake brewery and I start making sake. You never know.
Yeah.
But then for maybe I did 1 year, so maybe next 9 years I have more life plan than business plan. But I traveled a lot. I went to Nordic countries. I traveled a lot in last 12 months after COVID. Yes, I wanted to enjoy my life a little bit. So far so good.
Cool. Yeah. Thank you so much for your time. I think that's all.
You're very welcome. If you have, sorry, got a little bit.
No.